Welcome to another YouTube video. Today, as you guys can see, the background is a little different, but I wanted to bring you guys something pretty special. Over the last few years of helping a lot of our clients and partners grow and scale their businesses, I realized that there is something that separates the people who end up making it really big and those who tend to struggle to make it even at a mediocre level. And one of the insights that I got trying to understand why that happens was looking at people who invest for a living. A lot of venture capitalists, a lot of people in private equity, or just investors in general. And I wanted to make a video sharing this process, finding earned insights, being on the edge of a specific industry, because it's the only way you get to dominate. If you don't know something that others don't believe in yet, something that is not a consensus, then it's going to be hard for you to win, because you're going to be stuck selling commoditized services and you're going to just be selling your time. So I hope you guys get to enjoy this video, and in the upcoming videos we're going to be giving you guys an amazing tour. Right now we're in Cape Town. Yeah, maybe one day you get to join us and we get to cook in person. Love y'all. The most important question that I've ever asked myself was when I was starting out around 2019, 2020, I was asking myself, like, how is it that even after most entrepreneurs have acquired all the skills that they need to successfully be able to launch, scale a business, most entrepreneurs still struggle to actually grow and scale a business. It didn't make sense to me. And I ended up getting an answer and learning this lesson from listening to a few investors, right? A lot of the time, the best place to learn how to actually scale a business is to learn from people who make bets on businesses, okay? And today, I wanted to share with you guys the answer and the lesson that I got from, answering that question. Like, why is it that most people still fail in business even after they have the skills, right? You may be watching this and you're a great marketer. You may be a great systems integrator. You may be a great, HR person. You're really great at building teams. You may be good at sales. You may be good at everything. You may be good at YouTube, but you still struggle to make the type of returns that turn you into him or her. Right? Maybe you're struggling to make your first $1 million in a single year. Maybe you're struggling to make your first 100 grand a month. Maybe you're struggling to make your first 100 grand a week. Maybe you've never even made $10,000 a month. Okay? So today I want to dive in and share with you guys why most people struggle. And the best way to know how to avoid struggling is to essentially learn what makes it inevitable for you not to win. Okay? And the first person that I want to present is this guy called Mike Maples, great investor, venture capitalist. But I want to start by sharing something a quote from him, right? He said that my business isn't about how often I lose, but the magnitude of the rightness when I win. What he means by this is, as an investor, you might have, let's say, $5 million that you got to invest, okay? And let's say you're making some decent sized bets, $500,000 each time you decide to invest into a company, okay? It doesn't matter if you invest, you have 10 shots at, making a return. Even if you lose 9 times out of 10, it doesn't matter. Losing does not matter, because what matters when you're an investor is that all you need is to be right once, and for the magnitude of that win to be huge. You could lose $4.5 million of this entire 5 mil and just have one win where you get to have, let's say, 100x return. This guy has invested in Twitch, where he had an 89x return on the money that they invested in, okay? And if you put 500 grand into one investment and you get 100x, you make back 50 million. And 50 million on your initial investment is still a 10x return, okay? So when you're making bets, and the reason why I'm talking from the perspective of investing is that when you're building a business, you're still making a bet on one opportunity, one market, one solution. So even though you're not necessarily voting with your money, you're still voting with the most important thing, which is your time, okay? So it is super important to understand that it doesn't matter how many times you fail. All you need is to be right once, okay? And he shares this insight around the fact that discipline and patience are a form of arbitrage. Play your game by seeking inefficient markets while everyone else is regressing to the mean. By regressing to the mean is what it essentially means is that when everyone chases the same trend or conform to the same playbook, they tend to get average results. No one sends out, and competition drives returns down. If you guys have ever consumed a lot of my content, you guys know how much I hate and despise competition and becoming a commodity, okay? And essentially what he loves to say is that don't follow the crowd if you want to outperform the crowd, okay? But he has a framework that he uses when it comes to selecting companies that he will invest in. The number one thing that he likes to look at is he likes to look for inflection points. Inflection points essentially means spotting the moment that a potential of a hyper growth or a market shift and doubling down to seize the opportunity before it becomes a crowded space or the moment passes. An example of an inflection point is smartphones coming into the market, right? It's a new technology, a new platform shift. And an example of a company that benefited from it is Lyft, car service, right? It took advantage of the iPhone 4S having a GPS chip inside it. But the thing is, Lyft had no control on this, but they still benefited from it. So one is the opportunity that you're chasing. Are you going to get some leverage from a new platform, a new technology kind of emerging into the marketplace? Right now, we have the biggest inflection point, which is AI, okay? Bigger than we've ever seen before. So that would be one. Is the thing that you're doing, do you have access to something that you can benefit from, like an inflection point? The second thing he likes to look at is an insight. He only works with founders that live in the future. What it means by this is, what is it that you know about the future that isn't consensus, that not everyone agrees with today? Okay? That most people don't agree with, but that is still right. Okay? You do not want to sell Facebook ad because everybody already knows that Facebook ad works. So if you go to the market and sell Facebook ad, you're just going to be another one of those. You're going to be another commoditized service agency selling retainers, people being like, hey, I don't want leads, they're useless, right? You're not going to win and be able to get a 100x return from selling commoditized bullshit. Okay? So that's two. That's second. What is it that you know that most people don't agree with yet? That's two. And then he also likes to look at founder future fit. Someone who's living in the future, which is part of this. Someone who's intrinsically motivated by the future. What this means is, when you start seeing potential inefficiencies in markets, you also start feeling the itch to build a solution, a product that solves for that future that is not yet here. You should not build a solution or a startup because you saw someone jumping on a yacht with 15 models or wearing a Patek Philippe saying, oh, you should start an agency, therefore, or you should start a software company. No, that's not how you build a great startup. You build a great startup when you're intrinsically motivated to build it, not because you want to look good on Instagram, okay? I'm not making this video because I want to look good on YouTube. I'm intrinsically motivated to make content about this because I love to learn. I'm curious. I love to build companies, okay? You should also be intrinsically motivated to build and sell the thing you're selling. If you're not, then you're at a disadvantage, okay? And the last part is you have to be good to know enough to know what is the right solution to build, what is the right service to sell. Because as an example with AI, a lot of people are jumping into AI, but most people don't have earned insights. They're just copying what everybody else is selling. But most people can't necessarily make a bet on, I believe this is the right thing to sell because I know something that most people don't. And you should also be able to convince others that they're building the right thing. Imagine convincing someone that you're building the right thing when you who's building it don't even know why you're building it. That's why most people who go through courses fail, because they lack insights. They're just doing what someone else told them to do, right? And that's why you're never going to really motivate a team to come work for you. They're not going to work till midnight for you. They're not going to hustle, make no money, and chase the mission with you because you yourself know nothing, okay? Those are the top 3 things, right? Now, I want to show you guys how it applies in real time by showing you guys another investor podcast. By the way, all these podcasts, I'm going to get my team to put their link below in the description. I want you guys to go check them out. They're really good. I spend all my time consuming podcasts, by the way. As you guys can see, this is what my YouTube tabs look like. This is all I do every single day. But I want to show you guys the importance of acquiring insight. So Cyan, a great investor. She was a partner at Founders Fund, which is a venture firm co-founded by Peter Thiel. If you guys don't know Peter Thiel, then you should get to know who Peter Thiel is, okay? Co-founder of PayPal. But yeah, anyway, so check this out. By the way, she grew up homeless, had a crazy life, ended up learning how to code, self-taught, right? From people she met in the streets, which is crazy. But anyway, so she ended up taking a bunch of taxis and she realized how inefficient the taxi experience was. When you take taxis, it's really hard to get one. And when you do get one, drivers are driving like madmen. They're going fast. And she was like, she ended up asking one of the drivers like, hey, can you please tell me how your work works? Tell me from the moment you start your day to the last minute of your workday. And then she ended up learning that the taxi industry is really messed up because the way that it works is, let's pick a city like New York. Most taxi cab drivers don't actually own the cars that they're driving. They're essentially renting these cars to be able to go do the work, right? So one person owns the taxi medallion like license, okay? And they're capped. And because they're capped, the value of these licenses go through the roof, right? They're worth over $1 million. So most people can't, if you want to become a cab driver, you don't have $1 million to go get your license, okay? So you have to literally rent the car from someone else. And when you're renting someone, that means you have to invest when you start your day. So let's say they start the day minus $200. If you're investing to be able to work, then when you do get in the car, you're going to do everything you can to get paid. You're going to want to get as many clients as possible, drive as fast as possible, just because, time is running out, right? So she ended up thinking that, this system is kind of like unfair, right? But keep listening. And then one day she's at a hotel. She ends up asking, hey, can you guys get me a car? And then this time, it's not a cab that comes to pick her up. It's more so of an on-demand car, right? That the driver ends up telling her about, you know what, I just started working at this company. I'm the first employee at this company. And the way that it works is they pay us by hour. And all you can do is just order the car. It will get delivered. There will be a driver in it, but you can get it whenever you want, right? It's on demand. So that's one. Insight number one. So she learns about the inefficiency of the taxi cab market. Then she gets into one car with a guy called Roger, who's the driver, and ends up saying like, hey, you know what, Cyan, if I could invest in a company, I would invest in this company, right? Even if there was only one driver in that company at the time, okay? And then, as you guys will see, all the people who do investing, they all have the same kind of like purpose, right? I want you guys to hear it from her own words, right? So check this out.
And if you're an investor, a lot of what we do is it's kind of like reporters or hackers with 0-day wares. You're looking for secrets. We are on the hunt for secrets, for insights that nobody else knows about. And then I got invited to a dinner with...
So check this out. Exactly the same as this guy said. What is it that you know that no one else knows yet or believes in? Right? So when you're an investor, you have to find secrets. You have to find truths that people don't yet believe in. Okay? I wanted to just go over that because it is super important to understand how most investors, some of the best investors think, right? But let's go over another story. She gets invited at this event, the first event, because there's going to be 2 events in this storyline, right? You guys can check out the podcast if you guys want to hear her tell the story, right? She gets invited, right? And by the way, this is going to prove the importance of finding the right founder, right? She gets invited at this conference. It's a bunch of smart people, a bunch of company builders, a bunch of investors just meet up, start talking, yapping, and they end up getting in a hot tub. Pretty huge hot tub. I think they said like there were like 20 plus people. And she ends up seeing this guy, a guy with great aura, right? This is the guy. The guy is literally he's literally managing the whole hot tub, right? You can tell that he has a lot of presence. You can tell that he's a genius, right? And she ends up meeting him and she ends up learning of Travis, right? Travis, I forgot, his last name is a little weird. You guys can check him out. But Travis ends up being the founder of Uber, okay? But at that time, she's like, you know what? This guy's pretty smart. I should meet up. They ended up meeting up at a dinner. And she ends up just observing the guy a little more. And she's like, this guy, is going places, okay? Later on, she gets invited at another event called Open Ninja Forum, where Jason Calacanis, who is part of the All In podcast, he has an event where he shares deal flows, right? Companies, ideas that could be invested in, right? And then all of a sudden, this guy gets up and pitches an idea called Uber Cab, right? On-demand car ride service. And funny enough, the same thing that Roger was pitching her ends up being the same thing that Travis pitches, right? So look at this. She ends up noticing inefficiency in the taxi system and the way that it works, right? She thinks it's unfair. Ends up getting into a different type of cab service on demand where Roger tells her about how this company is great and he's the first driver of that company. Moments later or months later or years later, I don't know what's the timeline, this guy ends up saying, hey guys, I'm launching this company. What does she do? She calls her husband. She's like, hey, I think we should invest in this company. She wants to invest $75,000 into the company, but they end up, asking her, reducing it to $50,000. And look at what happened. Her initial investment done in 2010, 9 years later, ended up turning into being worth $248 million. Let me repeat it. She 5,000x'd her $50,000 investment. All because of what? Because of a few things. She saw something that most people weren't seeing. And she got another insight, and she found the right founder, someone who was living in the future, wanting to solve an inefficiency, right? She's like, you know what? Let me make this bet. Who cares? Who knows if it might work or not? And that single bet turns into $250 million. It ends up being worth $250 million, right? Now, why am I sharing all of this with you guys? I want to show you that if you want to start and scale a business, it's not about how hard you work. It is about the insights. It is about something that you see that not everyone sees, and it is about your execution around pursuing that mission, okay? And this is why at clientacquisition.io, we tend to not really actually focus so much on client acquisition, because client acquisition is already commoditized. People will do the same things, right? You will need a funnel, you will need all bullshit systems and funnels and setters and closers. Like, that's known knowns. Everybody knows that you need to do that today. So there's no outsized returns that you're going to achieve by doing that, by focusing on those things, okay? Instead, we focus on our insights and earned insights, okay? And this is, I want to show you guys an example of a company that we just recently scaled. This is a client, started working with us last year. He was running an e-commerce agency going after brands. His main problems were not enough qualified appointments, low closing rate, inconsistent client results due to many different types of businesses, need higher client, right? LTV, more scalable model, infrastructure to maintain fulfillment, right? He was mainly using cold email to get clients, and his goal was to get to $200,000 a month, okay? Do you know what we did? We did not say, hey, let's run better ads. Let's have more setters. Let's show you how to fulfill better. Instead, we said, you know what? We have different insights into what's working. We said, AI is booming, crazy inflection point going on in the entire world, right? Forget about just the agency world. It's going to change everything. And we also have an insight into the fact that it's really cheap to get leads, appointments, and clients in the local market, going after traditional businesses, right? We spend around $80K, $100K a month in the local market. Average cost per lead is $15. Average cost per booked call is $53, which, if you were to compare it into online service niches where you're going after coaches, consultants, e-com brands, you're going to probably be spending $500 per call, okay? And most people won't even show up. Right? And then, so that's another insight. And the beautiful thing is, we also realize is that if you actually come in and you implement a system, instead of trying to charge them like monthly marketing services, they're actually open to spending a lot of money, especially if you're wanting to implement AI into their businesses. So that was our first insight. We gave him a new offer, gave him a new niche. The next thing is, he's kind of like the right founder. He had a little bit of experience in his last agency that he launched. He was open to embracing the right opportunity. He was open to embracing our insights and pivoting. And then he's also the type of founder who will do the things the right way. He has perfect execution. That was the second thing, important variable. The right founder, the right insights. The next thing is acquisition. Implemented client acquisition infrastructure, right? The typical stuff that you guys see every day. It looks something like this. We build sales processes, we build sales letter, all that good stuff, right? The funnels, all that good stuff. We build the systems. We make sure everything is integrated, the funnels, all that good stuff. We make sure that we build the ads for clients. We, take care of everything. We place a setter. We make sure the calendars are looking good. Okay, we just do all the boring stuff. This is the boring stuff. This is the thing that you can look at YouTube and you have a bunch of yapper, you have a bunch of kids on YouTube teaching all this stuff when they've never done it. We did the things that the kids are doing now, okay? And look at the outcome. Earlier this month, so I'm shooting this on the 30th, 13 days ago, he hit his first $40,000 week and $30,000 in cash collect. And do you know the returns he costs in marketing? Only $2,500 around, because it's delayed, but 2.5K in marketing spend, over 10x return on ad spend on cold audience. Do you know how hard it is to make $30,000 a week in the agency game? Do you know how hard it is? It's crazy hard, right? But the most important thing that I want you to see is the most valuable thing that we did was not client acquisition, was not setting up ads. It was picking the right path. And for us to be able to pick the right path for him, we had to have insights. We had to know things that most people don't know yet. And that is why the most successful companies, the reason why I went from making my first 10 grand a month in January of 2021 to the following year, I was making $600,000 a month. And we've consistently been doing around 300 to 500K a month ever since, is not because of client acquisition. It is because of insights. It is because I focus on knowing things that most people don't know. I do research. We launch a lot of companies. We collect a lot of data, okay? And this is what allows us to go crazy. Okay, so I wanted to share this because it is, I believe, the most important insight that you can learn, right? And I would love to invite you guys to do as much as you can to live in the future, to be in the trenches, to take advantage of inflection points, AI, okay? And do as much as you can to become the, the right founder for the opportunity. Because I can promise you, even if you have the right insights and you're the wrong person to execute, you're not going to succeed at it, right? But I'd love to learn more about what you guys think of this insight and this lesson. Because everybody keeps telling you that, oh, you need a group funnel. You need a setter. You need an AI caller. You need a this and that. But I'm like, none of those things matter. The only thing that matters is one thing. Do you know something that most people don't know? If you're someone who doesn't necessarily have insights and you want to figure out how to acquire insights, I have the Natural Born Leader community. I would love for you guys to check it out, join, and then you guys will get access to kind of like this doc where I kind of like share my predictions of what I believe is going to be happening in the future, at least some of the insights, some of the bets that I'm making. And also if you need our help to essentially launch an offer, pick a better market, and you need help with implementing a client acquisition infrastructure, we'd love to help you out. But if you have an insight, if you're watching this and you know something that most people don't, I want to work with you. I'd love to figure out a way for you to work with us, get on a call with my team, join our community. I'd love to meet you, okay? Because I love people who know things that most people don't know, okay? Let me know if this video was helpful, guys, and I'm gonna get my team to put all the podcasts in the link below. If you want to access more insights, join our Natural Born Leader community. The link is going to be down below. Love y'all. Bye-bye.